I want to show you some before and after images which have been published online today about just how big the flooding has been in and around Lismore. Of course, we're live on Foxtel Flash, but also on Sky News Regional. This is the main drag of Lismore. This is what it looked like if you have a look at Google Earth, but this is what it looks like tonight. What about in Hunter Street? This is what it looks like on Google Earth versus now, what it looks like. Our thoughts are with everyone who is in this part of Australia. As for the rain and the rain bomb that caused its trouble in Queensland, it's now all about New South Wales. It gets closer to Sydney. Sydney will have its big day over the next couple of days and then worries about the south coast. So just because we're talking about where the front is, I don't want anyone to think that I do not understand what's happened in Queensland, the clean-up still to come, or the situation that's been taking place in Lismore. But there is something extraordinary that we have to pause for a moment and appreciate the country that we live in. This time last night, I told you that authorities were worried that up to 400 people were missing. 400 people missing as it started to go dark in Lismore last night. Well, thanks to the work of the SES, the police, everyone with a dinghy, it's now about a dozen people who remain missing. Now, sadly, we learnt that a woman in her 80s who decided to wait out the floods, she lost her life, and the fear is that that will not be the only life that is lost in that particular part of New South Wales. But we were lucky enough today to actually see the absolute professionalism and bravery of the soldiers, the men and women who are part of the Australian Defence Force. There were, as we told you, a whole lot of people who were still on their roofs. Helicopters come right over the top and start to pluck people from the place they had been for way too long to eventually getting back to safety. There were horrible moments where there was a chance that one of these people were going to get tangled up in a television aerial. If that was the case, then it would have potentially killed the soldier and even brought down the helicopter. There are amazing things that are being done by private helicopter owners all over the place, including literally hovering a centimetre above a roof in order to get people on to safer ground. It's been incredible. And this is an example of when state and federal government work together in a disaster. An absolute other end from where the people who were running the New South Wales response to the bushfires a couple of years ago, they didn't want the feds involved. They tried to fight to get the feds involved instead. Perrottet speaks to Morrison, bang, they're there. As the situation was unfolding yesterday, and then they've been there all day today. In fact, Andrew Hastie was on our air a bit earlier today and said that some 600 members of the Defence Force are there. Thank you to every one of them. And thank you so much to the people who are currently just visiting the country. Now, there is a group of Fijian farm workers who are only here on temporary visas. They are the ones who did incredible things on top of everyone else who did something amazing yesterday. They literally took people from a nursing home that would have otherwise been underwater and slowly, one by one, saved those people's lives. So there is some suggestion, calls, if you will, to use the newspeak, that these people who are here on a temporary visa, well, give them citizenship. I couldn't agree more. They've earned it. They've passed every test. Send them the paperwork, and if they want to be dual citizens, welcome. They showed themselves, like so many other Australians, to be magnificent in a crisis. I said it last night, but I will say it every day through this. We are told by the elites that we are a deeply flawed country. We are told by the elites that we're a deeply racist, sexist, homophobic, blah, 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 blah. But when push comes to shove, it doesn't matter who you vote for, what you look like, what you believe in, or what you think. We just help each other. We help strangers, we help mates, we help family members. And to those people who answered the call, thank you. You have saved lives. To those Fijian fellas, you are spectacular. Give them every award possible. Now, we will check back in with the floodwaters a little bit later in the show because there's lots of other things to get on top of as well tonight, including another chat with the Mayor of Lismore, where we understand that after talking to him last night that, look, the situation is still very bad there, but the peak may well have passed. Also, let's talk about Brisbane because the clean-up operation, massive, and it's going to take a really long period of time. As the waters start to subside, the sunshine starts to take over, which produces its own weather effects and humidity. The Lord Mayor, Adrian Schrinner, made an announcement today that is excellent, which is the Mud Army 2.0. Now, I put a link up on my Facebook page because the actual link, if I read it all out to you, there's too many dots and slashes and all the rest of it. But you go to the Brisbane City Council website, Mud Army 2.0, nominate yourself for Volunteering Australia. They will tell you where you are needed. So anyone who can help, help, because you're going to be needed. You're going to be needed for hundreds of kilometres, from the sunny coast all the way potentially to the south coast of New South Wales. And for those who spend their money trying to get people elected to Parliament, feel free to donate some of it to the people who are actually dealing with the problems of the world right now. But surprise, surprise, all of those climate change fake independents, they were trying to make politics out of this today. Another reason why they are not up to national leadership.